So, you want to buy a Hyundai Elantra N. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome back to Ross Customs if you're a brand new viewer. Today we're out here recording some stuff with the Elantra N. It's a great day here in sunny California, and I got my brand new merch on from Last Dinosaurs concert that I went to last night. Great show. But today we're going to go over a couple things with the Elantra N. Maybe you're somebody who's looking into buying the car, or maybe you're somebody who already bought the car and you just have it for a couple days and you're trying to figure out some things about it. I'm going to go over things that I like about the car, things that I don't like about the car, things to kind of look out for, and then of course if you're going to end up modifying or building the car, these are going to have some information tips here in this video as well. I'm making this video because I had a buddy who traded his Corolla in for an Elantra N, and the dealership knew absolutely nothing about the car, so he's kind of left in the dark. So if you're somebody like that who maybe didn't do some research, or your dealership salesperson just had zero knowledge on this vehicle, this video is perfect for you. So as to not waste anybody's time, we're going to go ahead and jump straight into the video, and since we're sitting inside the vehicle already, we might as well just start here.
Aren't I so funny? Because I said we were going to start inside the vehicle, yet here I am standing outside the vehicle in order to get in the vehicle. So starting with the most obvious thing here, since you're going to be driving the vehicle, you're going to want to know about these seats. Now the seats, everybody knows that they have bucket seats here from the factory and they look really nice. Of course, they've got bolstering here, they've got the light up in logo, but I want to talk about getting in and out of the vehicle. Now, normally for most vehicles, when you go to get in a vehicle, you can kind of just, put one leg in and just slide over and do whatever, and it's totally fine. Take a look here in the back. I'll just sit down, okay? My leg's out here hanging out, and then I just pull this leg in, and I'm totally chilling, right? But it's not like that for the front. So the way that I get in the vehicle, and this is just kind of like the routine I've come up with, and whether it's foolproof or not to get inside, basically what I like to do is I'll kind of slide my leg underneath the steering wheel. This leg right here is still kind of sticking out over the little hump of the leather, and then I basically bring it up, hike it over, and then sit down. And it's kind of the same thing once you get out of the vehicle. In order to get out, you kind of have to hike your leg over it, and then kind of use your elbow to go on the door sill right here, and then you can get out. So the reason why I say you should put your elbow here to get out is because I once or a couple times put my elbow here to get out, and I ended up actually creasing the leather on the bolstering here. This is the first thing that I do not like about the vehicle, because all right here you can see the creasing of the leather, and like I showed over there on the passenger side, I don't necessarily mind getting in the way that I get in just because I am more on the skinnier side, and obviously older adults, it's kind of harder to get in and out of vehicles like this with bucket seats. The nicest the car is ever going to look is on the showroom floor, so anything outside of that, wear and tear is going to happen. Another thing that I don't really like about the car too much is going to be the visibility. Now these mirrors, compared to the Corolla that I used to have, are actually quite small, and this isn't just on the Elantra Ns, this is just on every Elantra. Same thing with this visibility. Because the window is at a very hard angle, you really get like a small window of visibility, because most of the seats here in the back, they do block most of that. I didn't like it too much. I still kind of don't, but I can live with it. The next thing I don't really like is going to be on the steering wheel itself. The blue stitching is super cool. It's actually everywhere inside the vehicle. The problem is, because everyone's hands are so oily, even if you wash your hands and whatnot, this is going to kind of start getting dingy. Now, I think this was actually from the previous owner. I tend to wash my hands and clean my hands anytime I get done with work or bathroom, stuff like that, because I'm a nice hygienic boy. You can kind of see that once it starts to get dingy, it kind of gets all yellow and gross, and I'm not really a big fan of that. And maybe if I take it to a detailer, they can get it cleaned off, but I haven't been able to, so that's just another thing I'm not really too fond of. So right now we're sitting outside of the vehicle here near the exhaust. Now, something that people might want to know, again, this is for brand new people, okay, so if you already own the Elantra N, you're already going to know this. But the valve spring here for the exhaust on the actuator, on these newer ones and the older ones, they get old from Hyundai and they kind of just start causing a rattling noise, and it really is obnoxious. Now there's a couple different ways you can go about fixing this. You can either get an aftermarket one online, or you could take it to the dealership if it's a brand new one, and they'll actually replace it under warranty with a new upgraded one from Hyundai. Mine, obviously I already fixed myself, but I didn't really like it at first because it really sounds obnoxious, and for the most part it's only rattling when you're in eco or normal mode. Once you're in sport or N mode, of course you don't hear it because the valve is completely open. But again, that was something that I wasn't really too much of a fan of either. Another thing that I'm not really too much of a fan of is the Hyundai Blue Link. This you have to pay money for, which is really freaking lame. And Hyundai, you made it a bitch and a half just for me to get connected to this, only for me to find out you have to pay money. That's pretty lame.
Now, my camera unfortunately died because I filmed way too much, but something else I wanted to mention that was also a tip and trick slash things I don't like about the car is octane learning. Yay! Everybody hates octane learning. So basically what that means is after you fill up your car, you basically have to drive it for about 5 to 8 minutes above 67 miles an hour in 8th gear in order to unlock its full potential, because this car normally gets about 15 to 16 pounds of boost until you octane learn it, then you get the full 20 pounds. So it is a little bit of obnoxious. You can't really tell if you're just normally daily driving it, but if you want that full 20 pounds of boost for the full fun of the car, but once you do it, it is pretty fun, definitely worth it. Still hate the idea. Alrighty guys, it's time to stop complaining. Now that we've gotten the little nitpicky things out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and get into the things that I do really like about this car. Alright, so things that I like about this car. Number one, the seats. We're complaining and liking the seats at the same time. I really like the way that these seats really hug you on the road. Of course, they are bucket seats, so they feel really nice. So despite all the fun little creases we get from the leather, the seats themselves are actually really nice and decently comfortable. The next thing that I like is the steering wheel. The steering wheel setup itself is really nice. Okay, we get the nice N buttons here with the performance blue coloring, and of course, if you're an automatic like me, you get the NGS button. The steering wheel is really comfortable, it's really nice to drive, and I always like these two little buttons sitting here for fun. The next thing that I really like about this vehicle is actually going to be the infotainment screen. Now Hyundai, you did a really good job because this thing moves quick, very, very smooth. Anything you click on pretty much loads instantly. But you can see any button that I press, it just loads. There's no hesitation between it. It's super cool. And especially when you go over to Apple CarPlay here, I'm gonna dox myself, whoopsies. You can go ahead and take a look. It moves relatively quick, okay? Like there's like maybe a little bit of delay, but my old Corolla, whenever I would do stuff like this, it 100% would just take forever. You see the other options for CarPlay as I scroll between each thing. I click on something, it loads almost instantly. We got all my weekend music. We love the weekend here. If I were to go to the Hyundai app, normally load the Hyundai app, but I don't want to pay money for subscription. Now, of course, there's some other things that are going on here behind the scenes that we don't get to see because it is in the middle of the day. But of course, there is the ambient lighting. You can kind of see the white strip right here. Whenever it gets dark enough, it'll turn on, and of course you can change it to whichever color you want by simply going to setup and then going to vehicle, and then you go over to the I believe here it's lights, and then you can do the ambient light, and you can change it to whatever color you want. I have it set to sunrise red because I think it matches the rest of the color of the car, but you can choose any color you want here, or you can even set a custom color, which I think is quite neat. Moving on to the cluster gauge. Now, this cluster gauge is not the default one. Okay, if we go to setup, we go to vehicle, we scroll down to cluster, and we hit cluster theme selection right here. If you link it to the drive mode, your cluster will change based on your drive mode. Now, this button for me is going to be my drive mode. So right now it's on normal. If I switch it to sport, it turns to that red. If I turn it to eco, it turns to that nice blue one, and then normal turns to the white. So what you can actually do is you can just unclick link to drive mode, and then you can just choose one. So I always have it as classic B. So no matter which drive mode I am in that red carbon fiber looking cluster. Now, I'm not gonna do the obvious, oh, it's 276 horsepower, it's turbocharged, it's so cool. I like that about the car. Obviously, you like that about the car. That's why you bought the car. Now, because I didn't do the obvious 276 horsepower turbocharged vehicle, who would I be as an owner to not include the exhaust sound from this car? Do not, and I mean do not let that Hyundai badge throw you for a loop. They absolutely killed it when it came to the exhaust. It's fun, it's loud, and it gets you state ref for free. So we're gonna do the obligatory sound clip in this video. Alrighty guys, and that pretty much does it for the list of things that I do and do not like about the vehicle. It's a very short list, but overall, I absolutely love the vehicle. I've had it for 6 months and I wouldn't get rid of it for anything else. My plan is to either keep it until it dies or until I die. Hopefully that thing will die first. But again, do not let that Hyundai badge fool you. Mr. BMer guy came over here and made a great vehicle. It's not gonna blow up on you. Do not listen to the haters. They do not know what they're talking about. Now, the next part we're gonna get into is, of course, if you're planning to modify the vehicle. If you have the car, or if you're planning on buying it and you wanna do some things to it, here's gonna be a couple tips and tricks of information that you might need to know before getting into that. So let's go ahead and get into the first thing, the wheels. Now, wheels and tires are quite possibly the most important part of modifying any sort of vehicle. A good or bad set of wheels can make or break how the car looks. So before you guys go jumping in and buying the first set of wheels you could find, right here on this side of the screen are going to be the specifications on the Elantra N. The stock wheels that the Elantra N has
are going to be 19 by 8 inches wide, 5 by 114.3 bolt pattern with a plus 55 offset. So what this basically means for you newbies is that with the offset is going to be the most important part of this whole thing. The plus 55 on the Elantra ends means that the wheels are going to be kind of sunken in just a little bit to the fenders. So maybe you want a flush fitment, maybe you want a battle stance fitment, maybe you want slam fitment. This is all going to be very important to the offset of the vehicle. Something else to keep in mind with the wheels, most aftermarket wheels hub bore, which is going to be the area right here in the middle, is going to be 73.1, and the Elantra N has a 67.1 wheel hub, which is the part of the brake rotor that the wheel sits onto. You're going to have to get what's called centric hub rings, and they're very easy to find. I will put links to them in the description down below, but for sure, when it comes down to the centric hub rings, if you don't have those when you're putting your wheels on, you're going to get a lot of vibration, and it's going to be not very fun. Now, right now, the wheels that I have on are a plus 35. It is probably the lowest you can go for offset. You have a nice battle stance fitment where it kind of sticks out just a little bit of wheel poke, nothing super crazy. Anything outside of this, you're going to get fender rubbing, especially if you want to lower the car. If you are looking for flush fitment, you're going to want anything between plus 38 and plus 42. This is going to make sure that those wheels line perfectly up with those fenders. Again, flush fitment. And then of course, when it comes down to the tire size, you want to try to stick with the 245/35 R19. Now, a couple things to note when it comes down to the wheels. Most people tend to recommend getting 18-inch wheels instead of 19-inch wheels, because if you get 18-inch wheels with thicker tires, you reduce wheel hop. Now, what is wheel hop? Well, on these pre-facelift models of the Elantra Ns, some of their motor mounts, they didn't put them in the right spot. So when you hit the gas, you notice a lot of vibration, and then the car kind of starts going. The newer ones, it seems they've fixed most of it, but most people tend to get the smaller wheels, thicker tires to reduce wheel hop. Me personally, I like the 19-inch wheels. I think the 18-inch wheels look too small on the vehicle, so it really comes down to preference. But as long as you follow the guidelines that I've given you, you'll totally be fine. Something else that people might not tell you, if you take a listen right now to the vehicle, I just shut it off. This vehicle actually has a system to cool down the engine with the turbo after you turn it off. So if it sounds like it's still running after you turn it off, do not be alarmed. That is just part of the vehicle. Now here we are underneath the hood looking into the engine bay, because a lot of people want to know, what intake should I get? Is it going to cause a check engine light? Is it reliable? So what I have installed here is the 6th Element CPLT intake version 2 for the Elantra Ns, and somewhere underneath all that mumbo jumbo is the AV6 blow-off valve. Now I didn't need a tune. I didn't get any check engine lights. I've had these on for about a month and a half or so. Perfectly runs fine. 6th Element has fixed a lot of this stuff, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. There are a ton of different brands for both the blow-off valves and the intakes that you could choose from, but from my personal experience on these pre-facelift models, these two from this brand are totally fine. I would recommend them to anybody who has this car. Shouldn't have any problems, and you get fun induction noises. Who doesn't love that? Now guys, I think that pretty much does it when it comes down to the things about this vehicle. I might not have gotten absolutely everything. Of course, I don't know all the little intricacies quite yet. Perhaps there might be some more things that I don't know, in which case, if I missed a couple, feel free to put them down in the comments. I want this area to be a place where people who want to buy the car or have the car, they get as much knowledge as possible. If you guys don't do that, you can also check out the subreddit. I'll put the link in the description. It is the Elantra N Subreddit. There's a lot of people that have questions there. Most of your questions have probably already been answered, so there's definitely nothing to worry about. You guys will get all the information you need. But I think that's pretty much it. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, please leave a like, a comment. Feel free to subscribe, and we'll see you guys hopefully in the next one. I don't really know what it's going to be quite yet, but of course we'll get to that bridge once we cross it. But until then, that's it for today. We'll see you guys next time.